Are we alive? Good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. We started off with some horrible stuttering. That's a great way to kick things off, isn't it? Technical difficulties immediately out the gate. You should be able to hear the birds. The window is open. The aircon is on. I am nice and chilled. I'm a cooled Warhipster on this fine Wednesday evening. And we are live. Painting some more Leviathan. David 5th Ultra, thank you very much. I have a very fine looking beard. Thank you for being a member for 1 month, Captain Mannerings. It is very warm. It is very, very, very warm. Wham, some might say. The record so far in the office has been 34 degrees Celsius. But I've got this new water cooler, air cooler type thing, which is very nice. Which is doing just nicely. Are those real birds? Yeah. It's the birds outside my window. Captain Mannering's coming in with the 5 gifted subs. Sir, you are a legend. Would you look at that? 156 of our 200 member goals. Can we get there tonight, is the question. Hello, Barry Steinman. Yeah, welcome. And if you could leave a like on the stream, that would be very nice, because then it means YouTube goes, hey, this guy's doing a great and awesome job. So, who would like to see what I have been working on and will be working on this evening with all of you? Because I'm going to be doing some filming and some finishing and all that kind of thing. We're going to be doing all that kind of stuff tonight. Who'd like to see what we've got? Painting your Croxagore. Yes, Vicious Goose. Seraphon forever. I love them so much. Do you paint any custom chapters? I haven't. I usually paint ones that exist already. There's no reason why I can't, though. I just have an enormous Blood Angels army. Having to do a drive-by as I've got 3 live streams on at the same time. Who are the other... Oh, well, Liam is live, I know that. Titan's alive. Westy is live, I believe. Mr. ADR Wargaming. Hello. Blood Angels are admittedly cool. They are very cool. Who wants some Tyranid? You need some Nid inspiration. Para B. Well, boy do I have something to show you. This is what I'm working on at the moment. Here is the Screamer Killer. Good evening, Dambuster UK. The Screamer Killer. In all his glory. So this is what I've been doing today. Show us the new Death Leaper. Not quite Scarlet Pimpernel. I would love to be able to show you the new Death Leaper, but I don't have him. So yeah, this has been today's job. He actually has been surprisingly quick. It's been nice. But other stuff that we have coming for you next week. We have this guy who needs finishing off. So we have the old Blood Angels Terminator Captain. I'm really pleased with him. I think he looks amazing. So that's one that's coming this next week. We have the Primaris Lieutenant. There he is. So again, I need to finish his base. That's another thing that we can do tonight. The choice is yours, chat. I can either finish these, because I do need to film the finishing parts, because I filmed how I'm doing the bases as well. And then we also have the Apothecary Biologus. So that was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday's job. So these are the 3 Space Marine videos that will be coming out next week, because this week that's still left to go are the Stern Guard and the Termagants. So there's your 3 Blood Angels for next week. And then after that, we'll have the Ballistus Dreadnought and the Infernus Marines. And I've made a good start on the Infernus Marines. I've done 5 of them, but I need to do the other 5 that I'm going to be filming. We've also got Termagants. Then obviously next week, Tyranids wise, we have Barb Gaunts, and we have this guy, and I'm hoping to get the Neuro Gaunts as well done. Barry, you can give me feedback on my tutorials, unless you're going to tell me to do it in a completely different recipe, in which case I'll be like, no. So the one that I often get is people go, why wouldn't you just do it this way? And it's like, well, because this is not how I would teach you how to do it. So whenever I paint a Space Marine, the question is always, why don't you just spray it black and paint it red? It's like, well, because I'm doing it with contrast paint. Josh, I know you're busy, but I recently got hold of a Stegodon and not sure what colour to paint it. GW paint in different colours, but would the Croxagore scheme work on it too? Yeah, it would. Absolutely it would. I think you messaged me the other day, didn't you, Dan Buster, about doing the rest of the new Seraphon stuff? Yes, I will. Once Leviathan is done, I will go back to Seraphon. We'll do a whole... I suspect the whole of July will be about Age of Sigmar, for those of you out there who are Age of Sigmar fans. So we'll have a bunch of Seraphon stuff. It's unfair you don't teach how to paint my specific Hive Fleet scheme. So, shall I work on the Screamer Killer or shall I finish some bases? Your choice. I will do a bit of filming, and then if I do some filming, I will cut back to my face, and then we'll go back to showing you what I'm actually doing, because I do need to capture it on the camera. Barry says, I follow your tutorials religiously, but you make way less mistakes along the way. Sometimes I have to sub-assemble to get close to your results. It would be helpful to understand your order better. Yeah, I mean, the way I do it in the video is the way I do it. It's just step by step by step by step by step by step by step in the videos. Admittedly, I generally tend to paint fully assembled, just because I find that so much easier than painting in sub-assemblies. Sub-assemblies for me is just, you end up painting stuff that you never see. So like it adds up in time. Like doing like the kind of, let's say like the backs of bolt guns, edge highlighting that, if you add that up, over the amount of time I spend painting. It's hours, which is why I do everything fully assembled. And often because it's just a really good way of teaching yourself better brush control, is painting something like this when it's fully assembled. You just get better at brush control eventually, and it ends up bleeding through into everything else, like kind of doing straight lines and edge highlighting and stuff like that. Screamer Killer. If I was to paint the Stegodon in green with contrast, which would you recommend and which greens for dry brushing? I need to look at a picture of a Stegodon now. You're making me Google things. Stegodon. Oh, he's a fun colour. Oh, I like that black one they've got there. That's nice. Do you know what? For this guy, you're probably best to save yourself a lot of hassle. I would spray the Stegodon again. This is we go sub-assemblies. I would leave the top part off. I would spray, if you're gonna do it green, I would spray it with Death Guard green. Other than that, the contrast colour to use over Wraithbone or Greyseer or White Scar would be, I would start with Gut Ripper Flesh. You could probably find a fair amount of useful stuff in like my Beast of Nurgle tutorial. Hello, Go For It Painting. How are you? Apparently we briefly disconnected there for a second. Perhaps the heat is playing silly buggers with my internet. So what I was doing just before I came on online was I was doing some Gene Stealer purple highlights. On this guy. So I'll get those done. I've already filmed this bit, you see, so I can talk to you and read the chat and show you everything that I'm doing. Oh, this is going to be a slightly tricky one to do on the camera. It's looking pretty cool. So one of the challenges of Salinas Bernard, thank you very much for becoming a member. It's very, very kind of you. One of the challenges of painting in the heat is your paint obviously dries up a lot quicker, which sounds like, you know, stating the goddamn obvious, but it does mean that I end up kind of being a little bit more systematic, which I guess is a benefit. And it's not just on the palette either, it's on your brush too. Looks pretty cool, right? Pirate accent painting tutorial when? I'll do it when we get to 200 members, Jared. If you want to give 44, it'll happen right away. Any contrast recommends for NIDs in the second edition style and scheme, i.e. red skin, bone plate, blue/green weapons? I have Leviathan on the way, some NIDs and everything. Let me look at the picture in just a minute. Hello to you too, gorgeous Kataro. Let me check it out in just a minute, David, and I'll give you my recommendations. Let my Gene Stealer purple dry up first. Don't worry, it nearly has. You know what? As a faction, Tyranids are never one that I thought I would ever do. I've just never liked them. But taking these ones has been pretty fun. It's just one of those ones where it's just been like, I've never found the model range particularly inspiring. And like a few months ago, I really enjoyed doing the Parasite of Mortrex. He was good fun, because it was just like a total palette cleanser, because it was something I'd not ever done before. But it is fun to just do something that's like completely outside of my normal wheelhouse and outside of the armies that I normally collect. Like a lot of the things that I do collect are sort of armoured humanoids. It's just because it's one of those armies where it's like, if I was ever asked like what type of Tyranid army would you want to do, I'd want to do one that had like 200, 300, 400 termagants in it. But like the prospect of painting that many models in something that is not a recognised shape. There was a tiny little blob of Gene Stealer purple left on my palette, which is perfect. Just for getting that little corner like that. Oh, Salinas Bernard gifted 5 memberships. Dan Buster, Barry, Dan Hatton, Martin Bauer, MC Van Week. Congratulations. Say thank you if you are here. Is there a chance that you are going to do more AdMech vids? Yes. There's a very high chance because I've got some priests. What are they called? Corpuscari Electro priests. Maybe the other one's the one with the staves. And I've got some Cataphrons as well to do. So yes, there are going to be more. Bonjour to you as well, Sandor Castle. Yes, I have a big fan over there. Favorite metallics to use? I really like Citadel ones. However, you know what I bought recently? So I have bought, and I want to do another one of those those paint review things. I've bought some of Duncan's Two Thin Coats metallics, and I've also bought some of Vallejo's Game Color metallics. And I need to I think it's P3, they're the other ones I want to pick up and give a go. And I figured I would do another which one's right for me type thing, and just look at metallic paints. Good evening, Jack. Mr. Awful Minis. How are you, sir? Hope you're well. Miss you. Would like to see you soon. Sounds like maybe a Combat Troll. Going to be doing some Combat Patrol games. I would love to do some Combat Patrol games. In fact, the contents of Leviathan are 2 Combat Patrols. It's almost like they planned it. Did you try the Speed Paint Metallics? I did try the Speed Paint Metallics, Flyan, and I hate them. I don't like them. They're not very good. Have you seen the rules for Shalaxi, Hellbane, and Fate Weaver? So good. I have seen the rules for Chaos Demons. We can talk Chaos Demons if everybody out there wants to talk Chaos Demons, because I have many thoughts. Yes, Jack, that sounds good. We can cling to each other in the winter. No, I have some thoughts on the Chaos Demons. I think Slanesh just had a huge win because all of their claw weapons have devastating wounds. So mortal wounds for days everywhere. Corn Demons have got some really interesting things you can do. Skull Taker and a unit of Corn Demons gives devastating wounds. Kairos Fate Weaver's psychic attack is mental. As is the Lord of Change one, actually. It's very good. The one thing I will say about the book is this one, even more so than the previous one, encourages you to take a mixture of demons from different gods, rather than kind of going straight into one single god. So you kind of want to, it's almost like, and I think in that Nurgle kind of misses out just a bit, unless you're going to just set up shop around a backfield objective with one of the trees, the Feculent Gnarlmaws, because that gives stealth, I think was what it said, and you get the benefit of cover for standing behind it, and then you just create this kind of quite tough solid blob at the back that holds your backfield. Corner your absolute sledgehammer that comes out deep strike. Slanesh and Zinch. The Screamers are good. The Flamers are alright. The Lord of Change is alright. Screamers are very good for getting out speed. Because what you want to do with demons is you want to get into the middle, capture the objectives in no man's land, and that becomes part of your Shadow of Chaos. So that when your opponent comes out into the Shadow of Chaos, you can deep strike 6 inches away with your Khorne sledgehammers, which is where you have your Skull Taker attached to Bloodletters, appearing 6 inches away, and then you're doing 40 attacks, I think it was, with devastating wounds on it and +1 to wound. It's really very, very nice. Currently painting Felgor Ravages. It's pretty nice to paint something new. Gotten to work a lot with different shades of brown. I imagine Tim has a similar feel, more used to marines. Yeah, Cordycepsis. It's a great name, by the way. It is fun to paint these. I am pleasantly surprised by how much I'm enjoying this. Because like I said, I didn't think I would ever collect a Tyranids army. Or I would ever enjoy it. Because they're very, very different. Right, let's get a little bit more Gene Stealer purple on the go, shall we? I want to start painting my Sakaran infiltrators, but I don't know what colour scheme to take. Interesting. They're the spindly boys, aren't they? With the taser goads and the Uzis. That's the infiltrators, right? Is that the infiltrators? Or am I forgetting? Am I forgetting my AdMech? Would it be weird painting the flesh parts of Nids the same as the armour? Kind of like the Brood Coven Patriarch, but have troops painted normal but HQ a darker colour. It wouldn't be weird at all, Gemma. The beauty of doing something like Tyranids is you can just do whatever you want. They're all kind of much of a muchness, really. And it's just kind of down to the like the adaptations of the fleet, or indeed like kind of, I'm picturing it like the age and size of these guys. So like this purple armor, because he's so big, the Screamer Killer, he's going to be slightly different to how I've done the rest of the box. Not massively, but like, so his armor, for example, it needs to be a little bit colder. So rather than being Gene Stealer purple followed by Fulgrim pink, I'm thinking I'm going to do a little bit of Slaanesh grey in there. But there's absolutely no weirdness about that whatsoever. It makes the kind of the gaps in the armor and the bits that you do paint a different color, they almost become a lot more striking. That's why it works on the Brood Coven, the Brood Lord from him, because he's blue all over. At least on the box art he is, with a purple head, as I recall, and hands. So as what I'm learning from Tyranids is you've got 3 different stages, right? So you've got your hard carapace on the outside. So in this case it's the purple, the dark purple. You've then got your hard flesh, and then you've got your soft flesh. So the hard flesh is the kind of the bony part, and the soft bit underneath is the sort of more pinky bits. So really there are 3 colours going on there, and if 2 of them are the same, but you have one really kind of very bright spot colour, it also really, really works. It's all about creating triads. That's what makes things look visually appealing, you see. So if you can draw triangles to colours on your models, it'll always work. And then you use colour theory to choose kind of complementary colours. If I get my terminology right, a complementary colour is a colour that sits opposite one colour on the colour wheel. Oh, this is a bit of a nasty angle to get things up. I'm just going to scooch in there. There we go. So you see how with this guy, you've got triangles going on with the purple. That's why the purple acting the way it does works. Would the newer, brighter contrast be best for second edition style? Absolutely, yes, David. Because you can really control how little shading there is on them. So, like, Bile Red, for example, is a great paint because it's a single pigment, whereas Blood Angels Red, equally a great paint, but has way more of a dark pigment in it. No, I haven't tried Speed Paint 2.0 through an airbrush because I never use an airbrush. I sadly don't have time in my life to do my own experiments with such things. So the only time I've used an airbrush was the one time I streamed it live. And it's one of those things like, would I ever do an airbrush tutorial? Maybe, if I got good enough with it. I would never presume to tell people how to use something that I don't know how to use. But I would never do it on like a brand new model, because I find it really frustrating as a viewer of content when I'm trying to figure out how to do something. And if I look at somebody else's video to see what they've done, and the first thing they do is whack out an airbrush, I'm like, okay, well, this isn't for me then. So the example I always give is looking for videos on how to paint tanks. Always happens that way. You're like, how do I paint a tank? Alright, the first thing we're going to do is load up our airbrush. It's like, nope, don't care. So you click on another video. One that's like, how to paint a tank with Citadel paints. And you're like, great, this must be it. So what we're going to do is we're going to load up the airbrush. Oh, great. I'm going to start with a Vallejo Air Color to prime it. Okay. Now we're going to go all over it with this blue from Vallejo, and then we're going to use Lead Belcher for the tracks. So that's never something that I will do. So the likelihood of me doing a airbrush tutorial would be learning to airbrush my Blood Angels, for example. And I just don't have time to sit and do that. And I know that there's a lot of value in content like that for people, but there's a lot more value in painting up models that people are interested in and have either gotten that week or will be getting in a week's time. And if I put out a video that's, you know, how to airbrush such and such, the very first comment on that video will be, how would you paint it with a brush? I'm like, well, I don't know, I've only got one. try? No. Oh, it's nearly gone. I'm doing very well, Mini Bang. How are you? Fenhex. Yes, there is a chance. I have 10 spare termagants with which to do something like that. Yeah, absolutely right, Captain Mannerings. An airbrush is just a tool. It absolutely is. I completely agree. And like, there are people out there who are incredibly skilled with them, and I envy that skill. Do you ever use subassembly? No. Well, sometimes. If it absolutely needs it. I think a lot of... Some places over-subassemble. And for me, I like to remove barriers to getting your models ready to play. So having it fully built, you can play with it then. If it's like you've got a spare head here, and a gun arm, and a sword arm, and the backpack, and all of the purity seals are all separate, it's like, okay. The thing with subassembly is you end up, like I was saying earlier, you end up painting you're painting everything, and you don't necessarily need to. Like I said, if you spend so much time like highlighting the back of a bolt gun that you then glue on and you never see the back of it, when you're me and you spend 14 to 16 hours a day painting, that's 2 hours of highlighting something that never ever gets seen. By me or on the internet or on pictures or whatever. So it's just like, that adds up. That adds up over a week. And then there's the added time of having to clip it and then clean it and then repaint in the bits that you've clipped and then assemble the model and then. So it's just like, it adds easily minimum an hour to every model. To get a finished model before you can do anything at all with it. Whereas this guy, he had all of his base coats on in 4 hours. And I could have just left it there. Stuck some sand on the base and I was ready to go. So it's just one of those things. So for me, it's a time-saving effort, really. And also, as I said, like painting stuff fully assembled, it does help you out with. You do learn a little bit more about brush control, because you're getting to harder to reach areas. And I think you see a model in a different way, painting something fully assembled. Like something like this guy, for example. So like, painting him fully assembled, you learn more about the angles at which to paint, more about brush control, trying to get in around his legs to do the back of the back of the cape, and also about kind of your sequencing for painting as well. Because I think sometimes one of the struggles, and Barry talked about it earlier, is knowing what order to do stuff in. So, you can talk about the theory of painting from the inside of a model out. So what you would do is, if you're doing this fully assembled, you'd start with the skeleton horde and go in there. With contrast paint, you don't necessarily have to do that. With base and layer paints, obviously, you're more inclined to have to do two thin coats. So it's twice the jeopardy to get in there, if you see what I mean. But for me, it's mostly just, I get excited and I like to put the model together and see what it looks like. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I got the model. And then I have to paint it. And so I do. Because I am a child, fundamentally. And I like to see my army men all built. So that I can stand them next to each other like this. And go, grr, gar, grr, gar. And because I'm a millennial, I need instant gratification. So like, this guy, he can be deassembled. So the arms come off. But, Have you ever thought about using Posca paint pen for the edge of bases? What's that? I don't know what that is. Do you test schemes before you commit and film? I honestly don't know how you manage to create so much content. Do you know what I do? I look at my old videos. So at the beginning, I've done 600 videos now. So what I do is I look at my old videos to see where the similar colours are. Because with Games Workshop models, invariably there is a colour that I've already done. And there aren't that many colours in the range, right? So I look back through my old videos and I see what I've done and which ones are appropriate. So if I need to paint something red, for example, I'll go and look at everything that I've ever done red. So I'll look at things like the Kasagi Night Guard, and I'll look at things like the Blood Angels and the Flesh Tearers and the World Eaters and many others. And then I'll be like, that's the red, that's the one that I'm going to use, that's the one that's closest. Because what you need to do is look at like the pictures that Games Workshop shares of their models, and then go, they'd use that recipe there for that colour. Because fundamentally they have, what, 2 red colours? Mephiston and Corn Red. And anything below that is straying towards Burgundy. So at which point you then start looking at Galvorbak, Barak Nar, and then you're going into purple, where you have Nagaroth Knight, Demonette Hide, Phoenician Purple, and it's those. That's how I look at things, and then I just apply them to the model. But yeah, no, I don't have to. I don't have any. I often don't have spares on which to commit things, so I am just going in, being confident. Yes, let me look at now. Second edition Terminator, Termagants. Oh, these are hot. Yeah, so that colour right there, that for me is Bile Red, 100%. It's proper 80s and 90s. For the bone, what I would do, I'd probably use Skeleton Horde, but what I would do to add that little bit of warmth in is I would choose either Cassandora Yellow or Fuegan Orange and go over the top of it. Because it's not bone coloured, that. It's got more of a kind of orangey hue to it. So whichever one you prefer the look of, I would 100% do it over Wraithbone. Blue-wise, you're looking at something like Stormfiend. Celestian Blue is proper retro as a colour, but it is a bit darker. Assaman Blue is a good shout as well, but Stormfiend probably is the closest to what I can see on the picture before me. Probably would be how I would do those if I was to go down that route. The Bile Red I would shade. How would I shade that? Because it's proper bright. I mean, if you're going classic, you'd shade it with like Black Templar, but you would do a recess. You'd just pick out the darkest points, for it to have that proper like deep shading that they used to do on those models. But I would leave the shading up to you. 69 likes. Yo, dude, are you attending the Warhammer World 10th doubles tourney end of July? Currently not, no. I don't have a ticket. If anyone does have a ticket and wants to give it to me, that would be great. Do you think Apothecary White is worth getting for recess shading the Apothecary Biologist? So this guy I primed in Grey Seer because I did that with the rest of the Blood Angels, and I put Soulblight Grey all over. And then I relayered it with Corax White, and then I highlighted it with White Scar. Now Apothecary White also works, as does Nuln Oil, as does Soulblight Grey. If you're going to recess shade, the strongest one is probably Nuln Oil. It's probably the most forgiving, and it's probably got the best finish. Apothecary White is great, but it's a little grey / bluey grey, which is nice. I think if you're going to do Apothecary White, you prime it White Scar, and then do Apothecary White as your recess shade, and you might have to go over it again with some Nuln Oil. That would be how I would do it if I was going to go that route. So you basically just boss it then. I kind of do a bit, yeah. No, I mean, sometimes I will test a colour on my thumb. Sometimes. Or I'll look at it on the palette. But I don't generally test a lot of colours. I like I said, I have over 600 videos. I have a library of things to help me and choose. And if it's something brand new, then often it's just a risk, but it often pays off. And if it's really bad, if I ever do a massive mistake, I will reprime the miniature and start again. We will get a rematch, Charlie, don't you worry. How am I doing the bases for Leviathan? So what I've done on the Tyranids, so for example on this guy, that's Armageddon Dust. I've then shaded that with Agrax Earthshade, and then I've used some dry tufts from Gamer's Grass. For the Blood Angels, I've done my swamp bases video. I don't have an example of that here to show you. Ah, yeah, I do. So this is how I've been doing the Blood Angels bases. So what that is that Sterling Battle Mire, and then you kind of create these little pools. You then, once it's dry, fill the little pools with Dark Angels Green. Then you put some Nurgle's Rot over the top. Then you dry brush the whole thing with Tyrant Skull, and then you use some Valhallan Blizzard to give it a little bit of a highlight, as it were. So I call it Nuclear Wasteland. Good evening, Chewie. But that's how I'm doing the bases. My Blood Angels are all over there, and most of them are out in the shed from when I filmed my video last week. Can you paint my base? I'll paint your base any day of the week, mate. So much purple. Will you ever do painting for other people? All my painting is for other people. What do you mean? Do you mean commission painting? Yeah, so I occasionally do a bit of commission painting. I used to do a lot more of it. I try to... These days, though, I don't want to do very much of it because it takes away a lot of time from creating content, and quite often what people want out of a commission is something I've already done. So when I was kind of a couple of years ago, I would take on quite a few commissions because I didn't have the channel. The problem with commission painting, though, as I say, is that you end up it just takes a lot of time away from painting for YouTube. Because like I said, when somebody sees one of my videos and says, "Oh, would you paint me an Angron?" It's like, yeah, but he took 4 days. And if I'm painting Angrons, I'm not making videos about it because I've already done it. But you know, if I had some employees to take some of the day-to-day running away from the day-to-day running of Warhipster away from me, so like editing videos, for example, then I would have more time to do more things like commission work. But it's just like, in order to do that, I'd have to, channel needs to be much bigger so that I can afford to pay someone, which is ultimately where I want this thing to go. Kovacs, thank you very much for the one. That's very kind of you. Commission painting can be great. It can be great because, again, you can can help fulfill somebody else's hobby dream. Which is why I started doing it in the first place, when I was doing it, you know. Because some people would say, I really want this model to look really good, and I don't think I can do it, so can you do it for me? And I'd be like, yeah, it's fine. But what commission painting can turn into is painting a lot of the same model, and it can take a little bit of the kind of joy out of it. Okay, my paint's dried again. Robin, it's very kind of you, thank you. I'm glad I could help you with your Seraphon. I absolutely love the Seraphon models. I can't wait to get back to painting them. This purple was always going to be the longest part of this. Might pop onto the face cam for a little bit. Well, I'm glad you were able to catch it as well, Cameron. Welcome. You've watched me doing tiny purple lines for the past hour and a bit. So there's the trouble with painting in the heat, is you end up having to thin your paint down a lot more. Oh, plops of corn. Just got in from work after a tough, long shift. Always perks me up to catch you doing a live stream. We'll watch in full tomorrow while I paint. Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much for the $4.99. I'm glad I could perk you up. I thought about inventing a brush for doing this. So doing like a little, like getting like a dry brush or something, and then just cutting out the center part of the bristles, and then using that to do double the amount of lines at the same time. But I thought about the actual logistics of doing that, and it becomes way too unruly and difficult to manage. Which contrast purple... Big Bad Peter Gaming, first of all, thank you very much for the 5. That's very kind of you, sir. Which contrast purple would you use for Nid's skin while the carapace armor is black? Oh, that's a very good question. Well... What's your favourite colour? Black's one of those funny ones in that pretty much everything goes with black. So... what I would recommend doing is looking up like the colours and what they mean. But like for me, I think Magos purple, yeah, I think Magos purple would be good because it would be a very, very light, different colour. Shaiish purple probably wouldn't work because it's a little bit too dark. If you wanted to go like super bright, you could just go straight over it with Druchii Violet, because Druchii Violet over any kind of contrast base, Greyseer, Wraithbone or whatever, it looks really nice. It's quite weak. Luxion purple would be an interesting one, but it's quite like cartoony next to the black. It's a very nice colour, but it wouldn't quite... Depends on how you highlighted the black of the carapace, I suppose. And Leviathan purple is nice, but again, it just airs on maybe being a little bit too dark. So maybe if you thinned down some Leviathan purple, that would work. So like 1:1 maybe, or even 2:1 with some contrast medium. I would give Magos purple a go, and if it's not quite right, you can use some Druchii Violet to bring the colour down in stages. Made a bit of a mistake here. Just need to quickly do a repair. Yes, Cameron. Absolutely they will. Fixed. I had some paint stuck to my hand in a place I didn't realise. Because it's warm, it means that when you do that, if you're touching your model, you can sometimes leave some of that dried paint on your hands behind on the actual model. So I was just popping that off. There's 2 ADR Wargamings. When you do get your internet back, Adam, you're going to need to do the Season 4 update for DMZ, which went live today at 5 o'clock. Yeah, it's about 24 gigabytes. I use a palette paper, Jonathan. Tonight very nearly became a DMZ stream. I just don't know how much people would want to see that. Oh, Ben Liddell, that's very, very kind of you. Welcome back. Happy to help. It's good to have you back, sir. My videos will always be here. Subscribe for more. Like the stream. Colin Watson, hello Warhipster. Wanted to see if you have any plans for more demons content in the future, like the named heralds or the other named greater demons. Cheers, thank you. Firstly, thank you very much for the 10, Colin. That's very, very kind of you. And yes, I have many plans to do those. I would like to buy a copy of Kairos Fateweaver, Rotigus, and Shalaxi Hellbane. However, I do not have £300. How much would it be? I don't know how much they are these days. Let's have a look. Shalaxi Hellbane. 95, yes. 9, 18, 27. Yeah, so I would need £270. Because I would like... What I generally tend to do with the demons is I generally tend to do 4 different, or 1 for all 4 in the same period. Because it feels balanced then. And I'm not upsetting any of my Dark Masters. And so I would like to get all 3 of the others, because I've done Scarbrand now, because he's an absolute weapon. But yes, I would like to get my hands on the others, because the Grand Army of Chaos continues to grow at an exponential rate. And yeah, I want to get to a point where every current demons model has a tutorial from myself on the channel, because I absolutely love them. And it turns out in 10th edition they're going to be very good, having looked at their rules yesterday, especially Shalaxi Hellbane. Shalaxi Hellbane just got massive buff. And looks very, very, very good. I will get to Forge World Fulgrim eventually. Again, if somebody wants to donate the money for me to buy all of those Forge World Primarchs I haven't done yet, Super Chats and memberships are available now. But yeah, again, that's another project. Having all of the Forge World Primarchs done. That's another one that's on the back burner. Now I believe I have a Mortarion on the way. The Forge World one. It's also been revealed at Warhammer Fest that there will be more. Yeah, if you like Para B, we can do that. Later in the year, though, yeah. Right now, I can't think about that poor man. We're rooted firmly in the 41st millennium at the moment. I think I've done more of the traitor Primarchs than I have of the loyalist ones. I certainly have in 40k, because there's more of them in 40k. Did Alice just come home, did she? Hello, Alice. What, dudes? Are you here to drop some holly japes, are you? Alright, dudes. It is the jape of the century. It turns out, guys, there is a lot of purple on this. And I'm bored of it now. Yeah, unfortunately, Minibang, I do have deadlines. Nearly there. Soon. Bosh bosh. Get more water. In you go. Thin down because it's so hot. Dries the paint out immediately. Honest to God. Whose idea was it to start a YouTube channel where you paint miniatures and then have self-imposed deadlines where you have to get 2 videos minimum per week done? But you have the brand new box of Leviathan, and if you did that, you would have 16 videos. So you would be releasing Leviathan content for 8 weeks, which would be insane. And also really boring, because there will be more stuff after that. That will be really cool. So you don't want to be like, hey, the new Death Leaper's here, by the way. Do you want to know how to paint the Terminators from the box you got 8 weeks ago? No sirree, Bob. Spoiler alert, I absolutely fucking love my job. And yeah, that's right. I did a swear then. But it's true. I've got the other high fleets to do as well. I am looking forward to doing those. It's always fun doing a series like that, because it's just like, it's not fully experimental, but it feels like that. It's just interesting for me as the painter to see how like stuff gets, how stuff looks one way and then how it looks a completely different other way. Like just how you get this kind of completely different vibe to some models. So like right now, I really like the way this is turning out. I think he looks great. But like in Kraken, how would he look? Behemoth? We're very nearly there, chat. And this is the thing. You saw where he was at the beginning of the stream. And he looked pretty cool then. But you know what? Despite my carping, I think it's going to look pretty cool. Just to check, yes, it is a side-to-side motion on the face. Whew. Nearly there. Nearly there. honestly thought I would get this purple bit done quicker. Oh, how foolish of me. Still, once it's done, it's done. Alright, there we go. Have you painted many NIDs before these? No. The only NID I've done before this was a couple of, well, a bunch of Kraken Gene Stealers. And that was a commission. And the Parasite of Mortrex. Don't know what I was doing there. Right. Check this out. That's pretty cool, right? So he'll then get a dry brush of Slaanesh Grey, I think. I might just go for Fulgrim People. Fulgrim People? Fulgrim Pink. Haven't decided yet. Oh, now my stream decides to update. So, yeah, that's been a couple of hours. 92 likes on the stream. That's very nice. Thank you very much, guys. Me and Mr. Screamer Killer, thank you. I am going to finish him later. I see the green paint behind me. Yes. Which one? This one? Or this one? This one. This one. That's Tesseract Glow. It is a technical paint. There you go. I've got some proper separated paints on the thing before me. Believe me. Would be a weird point to join a stream, that. Indeed it would, Jack. Oh, I've just punched the shit out of my leg. Oh. That is something I've looked into in the past, Barry. This is what I need to hire someone for is to be able to manage those processes for me. Because being able to manage ticket sales, classes, shipping, distribution, editing, painting, content production, streaming, on-screen talent, doing all of that by myself in a week is impossible. It's just, there is not enough hours in the day. Something would have to give, and the quality and things would come down. So you'd end up getting like really, I suspect what you'd get is less videos. Which to me at this point is unacceptable. Because it's the fine folks of YouTube watching my videos that keep a roof over my head. As well as all the super chats and donations and Patreon subscribers and YouTube members and all of you wonderful folks out there who look after me. And in return you get many videos. Which is why, like, being able to manage those things is something that I want to do. And once the business continues to operate at a certain scale, when I can hire someone who can tell me, by the way, on Saturday between 8 and 10 you'll be running this class, you've got 15 attendees, just click on the link and go. That would be perfect. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's having just, you know, backup in the Warhipster space. And I can't wait for the day that I can hire someone, but I have to pay them a fair wage. Josh, do you have a Land Raider? I do. I have a Land Raider. I have a Land Raider Proteus. And I have another Land Raider somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I do have one unbuilt. Match your salary, Adam. You can go and soak your head, sir. I will pay you the living wage. You should want to come and work for me because you love Warhammer. It's not all about money, you know. But there we go. Well, Mr. Screamer Killer has had the longest highlighting phase applied to him. All that remains to do is a spot highlight on all of that purple, which, based on how long that took me, I will think about doing Slanesh Grey or Fulgrim Pink. I'm not entirely certain yet. Fulgrim Pink would match the rest of the Leviathan Tyranids that I've done so far in a gentle dry brush across the carapace, which is probably what I will do because it will match, to be fair. But adding a little bit of Slanesh Grey in there does never hurt. All that's left to do on him after that is all of the black details and his eyes, and to add a little bit of extra texture to some like areas on the red. So he's not very far away now. This is where he is at. But that is nearly a Warhipster parade ready Screamer Killer in a matter of hours. Like I said, it took me about 4 hours to get to the point of where I turned on the stream, and then it's taken me 2 hours to do all that Gene Stealer purple. But we've been talking, having fun, and it's really hot. So it's been a slightly weird long day. But on that, what are your least favourite things to paint? Oh God. Bikes. I hate painting bikes in all forms. I don't like it. Don't know why. Just don't like bikes. Outriders, bikers, chaos bikers, jet bikers. I hate it. I don't know why. It's just something I've got a block about. Because it looks like it's only 3 models, but really it's 6. And the bike is always big and annoying and hard to get to. I hate painting bikes. What's the basing scheme for the Nids? Cameron, it is Armageddon Dust, shaded with some Agrax Earthshade and dry brushed with Tyrant Skull. And then it's using the dry 6mm tufts from Gamer's Grass. There it is. But don't worry, I will be including that in this video for this guy. That's what I've done for the big main characters. That's why I need to finish this gentleman's base, for example. Because I need to finish his base. Oh look, there's his brother. Poor Screamer Killer. More like poor Terminator Captain, am I right? But, yeah, there we go. A Josh Fest 2023. Yeah, no, that is something that is on the cards. But again, it's just finding the time to organise it and sell it and look after it by myself. Because if I rent out a space, I've got to charge X amount up front to do that. And then the ticket sales have to cover what I'm actually doing. I also have to fill the space with something for us to do, and so on and so forth. It's just, like I said, one-man band over here, guys. It's just little old me. But yes, it is something that is on the cards, and it has been on the cards for a while, and I will get around to it eventually. But there you have it, guys. We are going to conclude things there. 2 hours of painting. So I will see you all tomorrow with a video. The video shall be how to paint Sternguard. And then on Friday we will have Termagants. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah. And then next week, Captain, Biologist, Apothecary, Lieutenant, Screamer Killer, Barb Gaunts, Neuro Gaunts. And then the week after that, Ballistus Dreadnought, Psychophage, Infernus Marines, and the Neuro Tyrant. And then we are done. Apart from the 6 other hive fleets. But we'll see you all very soon in the next one, guys. I will see you tomorrow for another video. So, have fun. Bye for now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Love you. Bye-bye. 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 Love you. Bye.